There we go. Whoops, as I step on my phone, that's good. So we're gonna start by laying down on our mats. I'm gonna sit here for a little bit. No, you are right, lay down. If you would like. I mean, you're always welcome to sit if you would like instead, but yeah, we're just gonna start by doing a little bit of deep breathing. For those of you who are joining us online, I did want to let you know that next Thursday we'll have a sub. Her name is Jamie Wilkerson, and so we're going to see if we can figure out the recording thing, and hopefully we can get that posted. But if not, then that's why there won't be any posting for next Thursday. So just wanted to give you guys that heads up. But yeah, go ahead and lay down, take some deep breaths. Today we are talking about growth mindsets and the difference between that and a fixed mindset. And so in a fixed mindset, we think, well, I am what I am, it is what it is. It's the kind of that old phrase of you can't teach an old dog new tricks. It's that sort of a mindset that however smart you are is what it is. And in growth mindset, the difference is that we believe that we can learn or that we can grow, that the way that we can adjust behavior or learn new things or that sort of stuff. And so it's a lot easier for us in recovery when we can actually step into a growth mindset as opposed to a fixed mindset. And so that's something that we're just going to be thinking about and meditating on today is what areas in our lives do we have a fixed mindset and what areas in our lives do we have a growth mindset. So if you want to go ahead and take another deep breath in your nose, hold it at the top, and then exhale. Let's do a couple more like that, breathing in deeply through your nose. Hold at the top, and then exhale. One more. And as you're laying down here on your mat, I'm going to encourage you to bring your knees into your chest, kind of rocking from side to side. Continuing that breathing pattern if you can. Bringing your knees back to center. Go ahead and rest those feet down on the mat. We're going to stretch our arms up overhead, stretching out those shoulders. Breathing deeply again. And we're going to start by engaging our core. So if you want to take your hands behind your head, we're going to do just a couple of little crunches or mini sit-ups here. So you want to think about widening your elbows, keeping your hands behind your head as support, and then engaging your core to lift your head and shoulders off of the mat. And then if you want to go ahead and release that back down, we're going to do just a couple of those. So again, very slowly, crunching up, engaging your core, lifting your shoulders and shoulder blades off the mat if you can. And then very slowly, rounding back down. Again, we'll do two more of these. So very slowly coming up. And then relaxing back down. One more time. Again, head, shoulders, shoulder blades. You can hear my voice shaking because my abs are shaking. And then resting back down. A lot of times when we do those, we bring our elbows to either side of our heads and we just go like this.
but that doesn't get all of the muscles down on either side. That only exercises our solar plexus here. So when we open up our elbows and then engage all of our core, we're getting not only this solar plexus, but also the muscles down our abdominal column from either side as well. So resting that head and shoulders back down on the mat, go ahead and bring your arms down alongside of your body, and then take that right knee into your chest. We're gonna roll that right ankle. Continuing to breathe, and then roll that ankle the other direction. And then taking that ankle across the opposite knee, we're going to allow that right knee to kind of fall down toward the mat, and then bring both legs in towards your chest, using your hands for support. Just coming as far as feels comfortable to you. Getting a nice stretch in this reclined pigeon pose on the right side. If you'd like, you can start to rock back and forth. In this pose, you'll feel how that changes the stretch in that right hip a little bit. Again, continuing to breathe. And then coming back to center, if you're not already there, go ahead and release both feet down to the mat. Again, we're taking our arms up over our heads, stretching out those shoulders. Breathing in through your nose, holding it at the top, and then exhaling. And drawing your hands behind your head, opening up those elbows out to either side. And then very slowly, again, lifting with your core, coming up off of the mat into a little crunch, and then back down. Again, head, shoulders, and then shoulder blades, and then rolling back down. Just a couple more of those, again, crunching up, and then releasing that back down. Last one, keeping those elbows out to either side. And then rolling back down, sweeping those arms down alongside your body. Go ahead and draw that left knee into your chest. This time rotating the left ankle. And then going the opposite direction. And then taking that ankle across the knee, opening the left knee out to the side, and then drawing both legs in towards your chest for a reclined pigeon on the other side. We'll hold it here in the center first for a breath or two, and then if you would like, you can start to rock back and forth. Again, just kind of exploring the edges of this position in your body. One of the really powerful things that we can practice in order to kind of live into a growth mindset is the power of the word yet. Recently, I was actually teaching about this topic to some children, and I found that there's actually a Sesame Street video that has a song that's called The Power of Yet. So if you want to go and Google that later and listen to it, it's a really, really great little song. But we find that, as we're thinking about things, maybe we're trying to learn something new, and, sometimes we get frustrated and we go, I'll never get this. But if we just add the word yet to our statement, it's really powerful. So I'm still learning this, or I haven't got this yet. Those are two statements that help us move into that growth mindset instead. So coming back to center, go ahead and release all of those feet, all of them, all two of them, down into your mat. We're going to go ahead and take our hands down alongside of our bodies. We're gonna check in with our shoulders, that they're down away from our ears. So as we're laying here, we're feeling the back side of our shoulder blades on the mat. We're feeling the small of our back pressed into the mat. We're gonna leave our left foot on the mat and we're gonna straighten that right leg. And you can either do this with a pointed toe or a flexed foot, either way is fine. We're just gonna start to lift that leg straight up toward the ceiling and then back down. We're gonna hover that leg about 2 to 3 inches off of the mat. And then we're gonna bring it back up and then down. We're gonna do that about 5 times. Again, kind of going at your own pace. Inhaling as you come down and then exhaling as you bring it up toward the ceiling. And then once you've done your 5, we're going to switch sides. So drawing that foot, then back to the mat, bending the knee. Again, checking in, our shoulder blades are still on the mat, the small of our back is still on the mat, and then our right foot is planted firmly into the mat. Straighten out that left leg, and then come up toward the ceiling, and then down again. Again, hovering that leg, if you can, just a couple inches off of the mat. So not letting it come all the way down. You might be noticing some things about your body as you do this. But again, the encouragement is to notice them and not to judge them. And then once you've done about 5 of those, go ahead and draw both feet back into the mat. We're going to roll over to one side and then push ourselves up into a seated position. We're going to come into a seated position, sitting nice and tall. We're going to go ahead and take our right fist and put it in the small of our back. And then we're going to go ahead and take that left ear to left shoulder, stretching out the neck and then also the trapezius muscle on this side. And when you're ready, you can start to roll that chin down to your chest. And then come back up, releasing that right hand. We're going to take the left hand, make a fist, put it in the small of your back, tipping the right ear toward the right shoulder. Again, just coming as far as feels comfortable to you. Taking some deep breaths. And then when you're ready, you're going to go ahead and roll that chin down to your chest. And then come back up, releasing that hand once more. I'm going to take the right hand up toward the ceiling. Really thinking about elongating your side body here. So from your hip all the way up to your wrist, really lengthening that side body. And then go ahead and exhale and bring that back down. We're going to take the other side. So inhale the left arm up, straight up if you can. Again, thinking about drawing a long line from your left hip to your left wrist, lengthening and stretching. And go ahead and release that down. We're going to come onto our knees. So if you want to kind of flip over onto all fours, you can. We're going to take our hands directly underneath our shoulders. Our knees are directly underneath our hips. And here we're going to start with some cat-cows. So again, if you would like, you can go ahead and allow that belly to come down, allow the tailbone to come up, allow the head to come up. When you're ready for your exhale, you can start to invert that shape, arching your back up toward the ceiling. Inhale, coming into cow. When you're ready for your exhale, tucking that tailbone, allowing that arch to come through. Going at your own pace, going back and forth between those two poses.
one more set of those. And coming back to neutral. Here, we're going to go ahead and think about, again, elongating some of our different areas of our bodies. So first, we want to think about elongating our spine. So we are parallel to the floor. You're going to draw your belly button in toward your spine. And then think about elongating your from your hip down to your knee, so your thigh bone there. And then think about elongating from your shoulder down to your wrist. You might, if you could push the mat away from you a little bit, that might help you think about, again, just getting really long in your body. And then leaving your upper body where it is, we're going to tuck our toes, and then we're going to start to lift our knees off the mat, coming into bear pose. So still thinking about elongating your spine, elongating your arms, breathing still as you hold this pose, and then releasing the knees down, untucking the toes. Go ahead and sit the hips back, stretching the arms forward, allow the head to come down to the mat for child's pose. As always, if you need a little bit more space, you can go ahead and make a couple of fists and rest your head on that. It's also good if you have some sinus pressure. This helps a little bit with pulling this pose, relieving some of that pressure in your head. And when you're ready, you're going to take those hands back to the mat, walk those hands towards your knees. We're going to come up and tuck our toes, and then rock ourselves back onto the balls of our feet, coming into a low squat at the back of the mat. From here, we're going to leave our hands down, lift our hips, coming into a forward fold at the back of the mat. And for this first forward fold, if you need to find a little bit of movement here, feel free to do that. Kind of bending one knee at a time, just working yourself into this position. That's also part of that growth mindset, right? Oftentimes, we can't do it perfect on the first time, so we just need to kind of work ourselves into it, or try a little piece of it out first. A fixed mindset would say, well, I can't do it, I'm just not even going to try anymore. But a growth mindset says, I can't do it yet. When you're ready, you can come back to the center, finding a little bit of stillness. And then here, drawing your attention to your hips, think about tipping your hips up toward the ceiling. That's going to lengthen the backside of your body a little bit further and deepen this stretch for you. And then when you're ready, we're going to go ahead and bend those knees. Put our hands on our knees, and very slowly round ourselves up. Shoulders and head is the last thing to come up. From here, we're going to go ahead and take our arms up overhead. So inhale, arms up. Again, think about lengthening that body. Then bring your hands together and then exhale down to heart center. Let's do another one of those. Inhale, arms up, lengthen the body. And then exhale, hands together, and then hands down to heart center. Last time, inhale, arms up, lengthening, lengthening, lengthening. And then exhale as you bring those palms together, down to heart center. This time we're going to take that right arm down to the side of our body. We're going to inhale that left arm up as tall as we can, and then we're going to lean off to that right side, opening up the left side, contracting in through that right side body. And coming back to center, Inhale the right arm up, really lengthening first, and then tipping off to the other side. Again, using that left hand for support if you would like. And then coming back to center, and that arm down. We're going to go ahead and fold forward, putting our hands on the mat in front of us. This time we're going to walk our hands out away from our bodies, coming into plank pose. And then if you can, so here our core is already engaged. We're drawing our belly buttons in towards our spines. Our glutes are engaged. We're feeling really strong through the front side of the body. And if you can, think about shifting your weight to that right foot and lift the left foot up off of the mat just a little bit. And then go ahead and slide that left knee up through those two front hands and allow that back leg to come down, coming into pigeon pose on the left side. And sitting nice and tall first, and then bending forward. We're just continuing to kind of warm up the body here. Again, just doing as much as you can when you can. And then coming back up onto those palms, tucking those back toes. You're going to lift the back leg and then step that left foot back to meet the right foot. You're coming back into plank. And then this time, you're going to actually step that left foot in between your two front hands. So you might need to do this in stages, and that's just fine. If you can do it in one fluid motion, great. If you need to stand all the way up and then step out and then sink down into this lunge, great. Again, don't judge yourself, just do what you can. So here in our runner's lunge, we're going to step that back foot in just slightly. And then we're going to allow the heel to come back. You might actually need to come in a little bit further. Allow the heel to come back and down, coming into a pyramid pose here. Getting a really nice stretch on the left side of your hamstrings there. Continuing to breathe deeply. And taking that right foot, stepping it back again into our runner's lunge. Love to draw your attention to your left ribs. You're going to see if you can kind of glue those ribs to your thigh, to your left thigh there. And then see if you can start to bring your right arm up and out to the side. So you're getting a little bit of balance. Your legs might be shaking here. That's okay. And then see if you can reach up and over out in front of you with that right arm. Again, getting small in that left rib cage. It's really glued to that left thigh. You're opening up the right rib cage. And then go ahead and release that arm back down. We're going to step that left foot back to meet the right. Then we're going to do our vinyasa. So we're going to go ahead and lower down to the mat. Untuck the toes, lift either into upward facing dog or cobra. Then exhaling back down. Inhale, tuck the toes. Push up into our plank pose. Shift those hips back. Go ahead and pause here in downward facing dog first. And then walk those hands all the way back to our feet. Coming into our forward fold at the back of the mat. From here, we're going to bend those knees deeply. Put our hands on our knees. And then very slowly round ourselves up. From here, we're going to reach up with that left hand, really nice and tall again, then leaning off to the right side.
And then taking that back to center, and the other side again, reaching up with the right arm, looking onto the left side. Coming back to center. Inhale, both arms up overhead, palms together. Go ahead and exhale down to heart center. Keep exhaling as you fold all the way forward. Coming down into our forward fold once more. Looking forward, we're going to walk our hands forward, coming into our plank once more. And then from here, again, we've got that core really engaged. We're going to shift our weight a little bit to the left foot and see if you can bring that right foot up off of the mat. And then when you're ready, you're going to start to draw that right knee up in between those two front hands, coming into pigeon pose on the other side. Again, if you can't get it right away, that's totally fine. Just think, I haven't gotten it yet, right? And then if you would like, you can go ahead and fold forward over top of your knee. It's got that incremental progress that we make. It's about just keeping trying. When you're ready, you can go ahead and start to work yourself back up onto those palms. We're going to tuck those back toes, straighten the back leg, and then step that right foot back to meet the left. Coming back into our plank position. And then from here, we're going to see if we can step that right foot forward. Again, you might need to do this in stages, and that's just fine. So however you get there, you can get there. And then from here, we're going to go ahead and bring that back foot in about a foot or so. Setting that back heel down, straightening that front leg, coming into pyramid pose. Really stretching into those right hamstrings. If you find that you have a lot of shin splints or that sort of thing in your body, you might also feel this stretch along the front side of your shin. Continuing that breathing pattern, inhaling through the nose, holding at the top, and then exhaling. When you're ready, you're going to start to bend that front knee, step that left foot back behind you, coming into your runner's lunge again. And again, this time we're going to draw our attention to that right rib cage, really seeing if we can glue that to that right thigh. And then once you feel like you're stable there, you're going to lift that left arm out to the side. Taking a deep breath here, and then reaching that arm up overhead. Again, getting really small in the right side body, getting really big on the left rib cage area. Continuing to breathe. And then releasing that hand down. We're going to go ahead and step that right foot back to meet the left. Then we're going to take our vinyasa. So lowering all the way down to the mat. Go ahead and come up into either cobra or upward facing dog. And then coming back down. Inhaling as we tuck our toes. Exhaling to push up. And then shift those hips back. Pausing in downward facing dog. And then walking those hands all the way back toward your feet. For forward fold. Then bending those knees deeply, hands on your knees. And
Very slowly round yourself up. Woo. Good.
We're warm.
Yes, we're warm. All right, we are going to move into our balancing postures. So if you need to move to a chair or a wall for a little added stability, feel free to do that. I think I'm going to stand in the middle of my mat today. Whew, yes, very warm. That's good. So today we're going to go ahead and heel toe our feet out wide. We're going to have our toes at kind of a 45-degree angle, and we're going to sink down into our goddess pose. So hands to heart center. And again, if you need to adjust as we do this, feel free to do that. Thinking about you're not leaning forward like this. Your chest is up. Your shoulders are stacked over top of your hips. Your tailbone is softened down. And then here, if you can, lift one heel and breathe. And then go ahead and set that down. Lift the other heel and breathe. Do that one more time on either side. Lift the heel and breathe. And then last time, other side, lift the heel and breathe. And then go ahead and stand up out of that heel, toeing those feet in. Shaking out those legs if you need to. We're going to come to a hip width apart pose here, standing nice and tall in mountain first. And shifting our weight to the left foot, we're going to draw that right foot up to our right hand, holding onto the top of that foot, drawing the knee toward the other knee for a nice thigh stretch on the right side. If you'd like to move into dancer pose, you're welcome to from here, which means that you'll be pushing the top of your foot into the palm of your hand as you lean forward. And then coming back down when you're ready. And then go ahead and step out to the side. Again, shaking everything out. And then starting from the beginning again in mountain pose. Once you feel grounded and centered, go ahead and start to shift that weight to the right foot, drawing the left foot up. Go ahead and bring the top of that foot into the left palm. Again, drawing the knees together. And then if you would like, moving into dancer pose. And then coming back down the center, drawing the knees together and releasing that foot out. And then shaking it all out. Very good. Oh. Okay, we're going to go ahead and come back down to the mat. We're going to come onto our bellies. You go ahead and start by making a little pillow for your head. Getting in touch with your breath again. And here, as we take just a few moments of quiet, I'm going to encourage you to think about the different areas or aspects of your life. Is there an area of your life where you feel kind of defeated, or you feel like you don't even want to try because you're afraid to make a mistake? You might be suffering from a fixed mindset in that area. Just exploring the possibilities, again, not judging yourself for those things, but just noticing them. Seeing if you might want to make a different choice if you can.
you feel like you can't make a different choice, that's okay. Just noticing those things is really powerful as a place to start.
When you're ready, you're going to start to move your hands underneath your shoulders and then come up onto your elbows, coming into Sphinx pose. So you're thinking about driving those elbows down into the mat, pulling them in toward your body to deepen the stretch on the front side of the body. It's like the opposite of the crunch that we started with earlier in our practice. Making sure those shoulders are still down away from your ears. And when you're ready, you can start to work your hands underneath your shoulders, coming out of that Sphinx pose. Inhale and go ahead and tuck your toes. Exhale, we're going to come up into a plank pose. And then from here, if you can, you're going to move into a side plank. So you're going to tip your feet, one on top of the other, reaching up with that top arm. And then again, you're going to lengthen that top arm, reaching up overhead, getting really long in the top side of your body, really crunching in through that bottom side of the body. And then coming back up, and then coming back to center. Go ahead and drop those knees, lower yourself down, make yourself a little pillow, rest your head down. Again, checking in with yourself. What's the language, what's the self-talk that you're using in this moment? Are you using words like never or always? If so, that's a pretty good sign that you're in a fixed mindset. And is there just a slight change that you can make? Speaking more kindly to yourself, still acknowledging what is, but also what can be. And when you're ready, we're going to start to work those hands underneath the shoulders once more, coming up onto the elbows again, moving into our Sphinx pose. Opening up the chest, thinking about elongating the neck, reaching the crown of the head up toward the ceiling. Taking one more deep breath here. We're going to go ahead and move those hands underneath your shoulders. You're going to inhale and tuck your toes. Exhale and push up into plank this time, moving into side plank on the other side. So reaching up, that top arm, and then reaching up and over your body, and elongating the top side of the body, really crunching in through that lower side of the body. And then reaching back up, and then coming back down, turning back to center, dropping the knees, and then lowering ourselves down to the mat once more. Go ahead and make yourselves a little pillow. Last time. And breathing deeply here. When you're ready, you can move into your final relaxation position. So if that means that you want to move into a child's pose, or if you want to flip over onto your back, you're welcome to do that. Or if there's a different pose that you would like to take, you're welcome to do that too. And as we take a few more minutes, just quiet, of asking ourselves those powerful questions.
And I'll go ahead and call us back together for kind of a final word and a final challenge for us and a prayer. When you're ready, you can go ahead and wiggle your fingers and wiggle your toes. Start to bring your attention back to this moment. If you'd like, you can roll to one side and push yourself up gently into a seated position. As you're still moving slowly into that position, I'll tell you all. So one of my words for this year that some of you already know has been perseverance. And when we're thinking about moving from that fixed mindset into a growth mindset, sometimes one of the things that we need is perseverance. And when we find and face really hard challenges in our lives, we have to have this mindset of, I'm just gonna keep trying, I'm just gonna keep going, I'm gonna keep asking for help, or whatever it is in the thing that you are trying to persevere in. And that can actually help us get to that growth mindset of just keep trying. So that's our challenge for the week is to consider, are there areas in our own lives where we might need a little bit more perseverance or a little bit more persistence in those areas, and to start using that tool to shift from that fixed mindset into that growth mindset. Let me pray for us as we close. God, thank you that you didn't create us to be just one thing when we were born. That you didn't just fix it and forget it. But God, that you gave us the ability to change and to evolve, to grow, and to learn new things. Lord, we know that that ability is from you, and so we are stepping into gratitude today and asking for your help to help us learn how to learn, to learn how to grow, to learn how to be persistent in the face of challenge. God, we know that you go with us, and we know that you've been with us during this hour. We're grateful, and it's in